communicate back and vice versa. And then you're creating a state of hormonal imbalance and promotion of fertility problems. So whenever possible, please try to purchase produce that is organic, or foods overall that are organic. Another reason that organic is so important is because of the environment. Organic farming practices are sustainable and really good for the environment and the soil and the nutrient content of the food and just the environment overall. You're also supporting farmers that really care about the environment and care about many of the same things you do about your health, and that's why they're in that. So that's one thing. Non-GMO is really important too. Genetically modified foods have shown to decrease fertility as well. If you cannot afford or cannot find organic produce, try to find a local person that can help you, a local farmer that maybe is sort of organic or close to. Also, choosing produce that's the freshest. So if you're looking at a label and you're wondering about it, even if it's organic, if it's traveled really, really far, you got to think of how fresh it is. So trying to find the freshest organic produce there. If it's looking wilty and stuff, that means it's already, the nutritional values decreased a lot. If it's starting to brown or mushy or anything like that. So, getting the freshest produce possible that's organic. You can also get a vegetable wash if you can't purchase organic. Vinegar also really works well, like apple cider vinegar or white vinegar in your water, and really rinsing and washing your fruits and vegetables. Step 2, preparing your produce. So you're going to want to, depending on your juicer and the size of the chute and the instructions, you're going to want to chop it up so that it fits through the chute. Now, if your produce has gotten a little old, you want to cut off those parts too that are bruised or browned or damaged. You're going to want to remove pits, any big seeds. Centrifuge juicers are not going to press or grind up seeds. They'll usually just spit them out of, for example, apples or pears. But you're not going to want anything that's, that you don't want to drink into your juice. So, preparing it in advance. Once you've prepared it, you're going to want to put it in a bowl or on the cutting board next to you, everything that you're going to juice. So plan ahead. Get your recipe out in your mind, how much juice you want to make, set it aside so that you have it right there. Make sure everything's in place, because you don't want to be starting to juice and then remember something and feel like you're having to wash produce and go back and forth, because it's just craziness. So get it all prepared, and then you're going to want to, I like to divide it into sections. So all of your soft stuff is going to be juiced first, and then all of your harder stuff juiced last. And that's because, for one, you might need to change your juicer to a different setting. You're going to want to do a slower, lower setting for softer things like cucumbers, depending on the kind of cucumber you purchase. Softer fruits like peaches, apricots, berries, lemon without the peel. Any citruses that don't have the peel would be a soft, ginger root would be a softer one. So you would want to do those first, and your leafy greens. You're going to want to put all those in first on the lower setting, or whatever your juicer says. And then you're going to, change speeds, and then you're going to add the harder stuff like apples or sweet potatoes, or harder fruits like a green pear, for example. So anything that's going to be harder, you're going to be at a higher speed, and you're going to put that in last. Now, the reason you're going to do all the soft stuff first is because the harder stuff is going to help to keep pushing all that softer stuff through that may have not gotten through, so that you get the most juice from those softer things. It's just going to help push it through. Number 4, next, make sure before you begin juicing, and this actually happened to us last night, which is pretty crazy, make sure your juicer's all together. All the parts are on, everything's secure before you start juicing. One key step is having your cup or your pitcher, whatever is going to catch the juice, in place. Now, my son actually knocked our pitcher out of the way, and we had already begun juicing, and I didn't notice, and so we lost half of our juice onto the counter, which was a huge mess and a huge loss of produce. So that was kind of sad, but you live and learn. But there's an example. So then you just begin to make your juice. Like I said, all the soft stuff first, then all the hard stuff, and make sure your pitcher is in place, and you're going to catch your juice. Now, the next step would be if you want to take it a step further to remove even more pulp, and that would be straining off your juice. So to strain off your juice, you're going to need to have a nut milk bag, and that is for making like hemp milk or almond milk or cashew milk, something like that. It's a special bag that you can purchase, and it really strains off liquids. Now, even though you've juiced and most of the fiber has gone into the pulp, and you've just gotten all these vital nutrients in your juice, there still may be some fibrous material. So you can take it a step further, and you would just get a container, preferably glass. You're just going to put the strainer bag. You can also use a woman's pantyhose that is clean, cut off at the knee, and you just pour your juice in there, and then you just strain it off. Another thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take your pulp, if it's kind of wet still, and put it in there and squeeze it and wring it out and get the rest of the juice that way as well. So you're getting the most juice out of your pulp as well. Having a glass container for storage is great. Say you can't drink all your juice at one time. You will definitely want to have mason jars on hand, canning jars with a good tight lid. This is because as soon as your juice touches the air, it begins to oxidize and break down and decompose. So that happens instantly. That's why we always recommend, usually drinking your juice as quickly as possible. Now, if you can't do that, it will keep up to 24 hours as long as you're putting it in the appropriate size containers. So say you only had this much juice and you put it in this big container, you have all this air in there still that's going to break it down, even when you're sealing it. So, you would want it to be filled up as big as possible. So if you, a little or mason jar, and then you cap it tightly and you keep it in the refrigerator in the dark, preferably more towards the back of your refrigerator, and that will keep the nutrients and vitamins and minerals from decomposing as fast so that it doesn't break down and you can just get the vital nutrients if you can't drink it all at one time. But preferably it would be best to drink it right away to get the best nutrition. Your pulp. What to do with your pulp. So your pulp, the best thing to do, honestly, and this is great if you're a gardener, is to compost it. It's already so mushed up and broken down and stripped up and just ground up that it's wonderful. It's already perfect to make the best soil and compost in your garden. So definitely, if you can, compost it. If you cannot compost it, you're going to want to take the bag out that it's in, or take the pulp and you're going to want to put it in a plastic bag or a paper bag, something, preferably not plastic, but plastic is best in your pulp catchment because then it doesn't leak juices that could be leaching from your pulp out. But you're going to want to take that out to the outside trash can, because if you leave it in your trash, it's going to smell horrible in your house. So, I hope that you learned a lot about juicing and you can see why it's so important for fertility. Remember, cell regeneration, huge for that. Overall nutrition, huge for digestion. Say you're not feeling so good, your digestion is feeling sluggish. This is a great way to get things moving. Rapidly absorbed into the body, all these vital nutrients, minerals, enzymes, antioxidants. Definitely consider learning how to juice. If you don't have a juicer, you can use a blender. Now, the way that you would do that is you're going to prepare your food a little bit differently. So you're going to chop it up more. You're going to want to remove all pits and seeds, and you're going to add it to your blender, and you're going to want to add a little bit of water. Now, you'll know how much water to add because you want the whole blending cycle to be moving. If it's not moving, you need to add a little bit more filtered water. So you added all your fresh fruits and veggies that you wanted to juice, and then you are going to blend it and liquefy it with a little bit of water till it's really, really broken down. So you're going to want to put it on the highest setting you can so that it's pretty much a pure liquid. Then, like I said, you're going to want to get the nut milk bag or the pantyhose, and you're going to want to strain it and then wring it out. So you might have to do this in a couple of processes into a big glass mason jar, and then you have some blender juice. If you have any questions, let us know on juicing, and Heather has a ton of awesome recipes from this 21-day fertility diet challenge ebook, and I hope you have a wonderful day.